Welcome back. Let us look an important aspect in programming, that is the programming structures. As far as programming structures are concerned, they purely repeat with the loop structures, and it can be a content with if or if else, maybe nested if, and similarly another programming structures with while, for, repeat until, and it do have switch statement with options like break and continue. So all these are common in any programming language, right? It is can be in a Python, it can be in C, C++, Java. So the programming loops, the usage are common. The syntax is prominently different as per the construct of the language. So the intention of all these elements, the intention of all these looping structures was to make some decision making, that it should be either a true or it should be either a false. To make a decision, conditions need to be evaluated. To make a decision, conditions need to be evaluated. That it is with if else, and switch. It is going to be with if or if else, or it is going to be with a switch statement. Now let us look into the first category of decision making, that is if. So how was this if was? I'm going to use a value that is 30 long, 3L stands for long int, and X is going to be with a assignment operator, and X we are going to call it as a variable name. Now if followed by a condition, if followed by a condition and it is meeting, then the true part is working out, right? It is going to be an issue. Now, what if I am going to work with if else? Again, the element what we are going to put inside the if loop, we call this one as a condition. If is a keyword, else is a keyword, and this part it goes with true, else it goes with the false part. Okay, so we are meeting with a condition. The condition is satisfied. Condition is satisfied. Then it moves to the true part. Otherwise, it moves to the false part. Another aspect, we do have the nested if. So we can say this is part 1, else if is part 2, and the final it goes with the else part. So we use the syntax with open braces and a closed braces right from the conditional part to the true part, another true part, and finally it moves to a default value towards else here. So if, else if, and if, there are 3 elements. So we talked about if statement, if with if else, and finally a nested if. Similarly, R supports switch statement. For that, switch is going to be a reserved word. switch is going to be a reserved word. When it is meeting a reserved word, we mean to see a condition here. Condition is 3, so 3 is going to be satisfied and it is going to be printed. So print of X, we make a condition. So it goes with case to case, first case first, second case second, third and fourth. Fourth is not going to meet, and it directly prints the third case. Along with this condition part, we have some loopings. So loopings, they mean to say with repeat loop, while loop, or they mean to represent with a for loop. They mean to represent with a repeat or a while or a for. So let us look into the definition part. So as far as repeat is concerned, it executes a sequence of statements multiple times and abbreviates the code that manages at the loop variable. The second definition for a while, it is going to repeat a statement or a group of statements until a given condition is true. So if the condition, it tests for the condition before executing the body. So here condition is tested at n. Here condition is tested at beginning. That's the TKV. And what is this for loop doing? So it is also looking like a while statement, but it tests the condition at the loop body. That's the difference where repeat, while and for loop. We will take up examples for clear-cut understanding. So repeat, it is repeating the same code again and again until a stop condition is met. So we have a vector with two values, hello and loop, and we do have a count value is going to be assigned with 2. Now we mention to a repeat loop, this is open brackets and close braces, and then we are going to print out the value of a vector v, and we are going to increment the count by 1. And now you can see inside the repeat we are calling if count is greater than 5. So this is the funda here. So if count is greater than 5, we are calling the if loop inside a repeat loop. So the condition tested at the end, the condition is going to be tested at the end, or it is verifying the top criteria is met or not. We need to look it up. So condition was count is greater than 5. So we will repeat only for 4 times because the condition was greater than 5. The second category was to use a vector with hello and while and loop, 2 character values, 1 hello, 2 while loop, and the count is given as 2 here. Now while condition is there, condition is checked at the entry. Condition is checked at the entry. So count is less than 7. We repeat count and up to 7 times. Less than 7 times. So we get the answer as 6 as part of the while loop. So one more value is missing here. Next comes another loop structure called as for loop. So letters, these are going to be a predefined function. It is going to be a predefined function, and it brings up the alphabets. It brings up the alphabets from 1 to 4. So we have for I is equals to 0, I less than n, and I plus plus. So this is in C language. So we put this as a initialization. Then we move with condition, and we go with increment or decrement operation, right? So now V is given with 1 to 4 letters. So the first step is moved at this position. Second, we do for, it is going to be a reserved word, and I in V is going to be the condition. It is going to be a condition as similar to while loop. As similar to while loop, we put up the condition. Now, as we mentioned in, it is an increment or until the condition is met. This is verified. So it is 1 to 4 here. The answer was 4 times. The answer is going to be repeated. We do have 2 more constructs to terminate the loop in between or to move the loop to the next statement. To move the loop to the next statement, we use next keyword, and to terminate, we are going to use the break keyword. So that's the distinction. Now, let us see this break as an example. Now, we are going to use V as a vector, and count is initialized to 2. We use a repeat loop here, and in this repeat loop, we want to print the vector, we want to print the V. V is nothing but a vector. Now we have a user defined variable initialized to 2, and 2 plus 1, it is now starting it up. So it moves until the condition is met. That too, it is at the stopping point. It is at the stopping point in the repeat loop. And you should understand, break is going to happen there. So we are going to use break as the reserved word. We are going to use break as the reserved word here. So when it meets, it is greater than 5. Obviously, we do have only 4 iterations. We have 4 iterations which will be executed as part of a break command. Next comes another construct which helps the looping structure. So we take the initialization part, then we take the for loop, and in is going to be a reserved word in the for loop. And see here, in the for loop, we are meeting the condition. The condition was if I is equals to D, which is going to be a character D, and letters 1 to 6, you say A, B, C, D, E, and F. So we need 6 iterations. We need 6 iterations here. So except D, we can print the rest of characters. Except D, we are going to print the rest of characters. What are the rest of the characters? You can see here A, B, C, and D is removed here. Right? D is removed. We get F and E and F there. So how is it possible? It is possible with the next keyword. So we made a skip operation. We made a skip operation for the condition is going to match. So this is how we work with the different loops. There are some extension examples over the control statements here. So assume there was a vector with 5, 12 and 13, and now we are going to say for n in x, and we need to compute the power, we need to compute the square. So until the end of the vector, the for loop will iterate. So the condition was n in x. So this one was the condition. So until unless the values in x, that is 5, 12 and 13, 5 it is x of 1, 12 it is x of 2, 13 it is x of 3. Until these three items are going to be taken up, we compute the power. We compute the power here, right? So we dig deep there. The same such operations can be taken up with while syntax here. So while the initial condition is taken up, and you can see here the repeat operation at there, the condition is verified at the end. Condition is going to be verified at the end, and it is also similar to the loop where it works with break in while, etc. So one important observation was the value I is given to 1 until unless it is less than 10. It is the value was added with 4. So we get the answer with the first was 5. Then it is added with 4. It ends with 9, and then we do make this value as 13. There we are going to get the value 13, and it moves to each and every concept. Next comes the if loop with else condition. So if and else. So these we call them as some decision making loops. So we have the things with if, when this condition is going to met, this will be taken up as a true part, else will be taken up as a false part. So we have expression 1 and expression 2. That's how we move with this if. More significantly, we can make arithmetic and Boolean operations as a part of the programming in R. So to use these arithmetic and Boolean operations, we use addition with represented with plus, subtraction with minus, multiplication with the asterisk, and division with slash, and exponent with a cap. But for modulo, we are going to put 2 division symbols. We are going to put a 2 division or 2 percentage symbols, and that's how we are working up with. And when we need to test for equality, we go with double equals to. So this is for test for equality, we can look down to this symbol. And similarly, there are some logical operations. So we get for and and a pipe symbol, which is going to put the OR operation. So it can be with scalars, and there are between vector n and vector OR operation. And similarly, we get a negation operation here, so that it is representing for not. Now let us see the value of x is with true, false, and true, and y was true, true, and false. So we are doing x asterisk y ampersand y. So we are working on AND operation on vectors. That is true, false, true, true, false, true. So true and true, we get true, false and true, we get false, true and false, we get false. So that's how we put up the things. Now let me take up x of 1 and y of 1, that is true and true. So we take two entities. Now this point we call it as scalar operation, and that it is done with the logical operation. So the end outcome, of course, it is true here. We get these values. There are some inclusions in the looping structure that deals with functions, and functions are going to be treated as an objects in R, and they do have a return value. So how we can define a function was, assume we need to work on an odd count as a function. So for that we assume x as a value, which is going to be a parameter, and return, it is going to be a return type, and x, it is going to passing of a parameter to a function. So we apply the logic here. Now we are going to use the modulo operation, and whoever it is going to get the 1, then we check whether it is an even and odd, and we assign the value. We assign the value with k like that. Okay. So the other way of defining the function was its scope and environment. So it is within the function, then we can call it the local scope, and if it is external to the function, then we call it as a global scope. We call that element as a global scope. Now I want to know how to know the function is going to have a global scope or a local scope. So for that I use environment with the function name. So it is displaying global. Now here you can look it up. A function is taken up, and f it is going to take up, and h it is with a local value, and it is with a global value. One more thing we can look was the thing where y is going to put up as one separate entity, and h it is going to separate it at one separate entity, and there is a reference problem. There was a reference problem because h is going to be called externally. So it is going to lead to error. So the scope is going to be restricted. The scope is going to be restricted, and across that the scope is violated. Now What are the different tools where we can compose and where we can execute words? We can directly type with the text editors with VIM, or we can store the things into Notepad, give a file, and thereby call the file name. So R Studio, it is going to support the integrated development environment where files can be read and can be executed. Similarly, the thing, if there was some error in the code, we need to debug it, or we need to modify it, then we are going to use the edit function there, and thereby we can edit up with the content. So a quick recap of what we learned from this was we are talking about loops and programming structures of R that we taken up if else switch, if with a condition, else it is printing up the false part. And similarly, nested if is also going to be supported in R programming, and else part is by default it is taken up. Switch, a condition is met, then it checks case by case. If the case is true, it prints out the answer. Looping structures, we do have one as a repeat loop, while loop, and for loop. So in repeat loop, the conditions are going to be verified. At the end, the body is executed and thereby condition is checked at the end. But as far as the while loop is concerned, it looks up a entry condition. If the condition is met, then only the body is going to be iterated. For it is similar to the working loop as C, but initially the initialization was done externally, and the increment condition is part of a condition in the for loop itself. There are two reserved words, keywords, which terminates the condition when it is satisfied at that instance, the loop at that instance. We use a break. And if we want to make a skipping operation, then we want to skip to the next, then we use next operation. So these are the key takeaways where loops can be looked up with arithmetic and Boolean operations, and the modulo was represented with the two percentages, and scalar way to use and with only 1 ampersand. But if it is a vector, then we need to go with multiple ampersand. So that's how we put up this Boolean from the programming structures.